Hi everyone, this is Eagle News. I am EJ Gonzalez in Washington. It's the first Saturday of the month, May 7, 2022, here in the nation's capital. Our coverage begins now. Shortage in blood supply is something the whole country is dealing with. In Los Angeles, communities and organizations come together as they respond to the need. Alan Basayahe reports.
Across the nation, blood supply lines are at dire levels. Working to help with this dilemma, the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ has partnered with Livestream in hosting a blood donation drive.
During the pandemic, it was really hard to keep up with the blood supply shortage. We are still in a national blood supply shortage. We're still trying to catch up. I have seen an increase in donors being able to come out and donate, or where we are being able to stop in and donate. But during the pandemic, high schools were closed, which we count on our high schoolers also, because we actually hold drives at high schools as well. Churches were closed, we couldn't do that. We're still playing catch up.
We come to a lot of events like this just because right now we are very short on blood. It's very helpful. We help out our communities as well that are trying to get us more available drives out here. We are very short on blood right now, very needed. As soon as we get it in, it goes out. So it's very important for people to donate.
They will screen us if we are qualified or not. And a little prick of needle, that's it. It's not really that bad. The process itself is like 10-15 minutes, so it's not that long. After that, a lot of professional healthcare workers here who help us recover.
Our doctrine is whenever our fellow man or our neighbor is in need, then we have to be ready to lend a hand, a helping hand. So that's what we're doing. We're opening our chapel so that we can conduct this blood drive and help or do something good for our fellow man. The teachings of God that we uphold in the church is also unity and love of brotherhood. So when there is a project, especially led by the church administration, you will always see members of the Church of Christ coming together, uniting, making sure that the project is a success.
The church is always ready to help out, especially the fellow men. So any activity like this, it's always good to help the people around the community especially.
Acknowledging the importance of the blood donation drive, city officials sent their representative to present certificates of recognition to the Iglesia Ni Cristo and Livestream.
It says, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the 6th Council District, I would like to thank you for your commitment and dedication to recruiting, educating, and inspiring blood drive donors and volunteers in an effort to ensure a safe and adequate blood supply for patients in need. You have provided a vital and significant contribution to your community. Thank you. On behalf of the Council President and the Assemblyman, I would like to thank you, Iglesia Ni Cristo and Livestream Bloodstream for this event. Thank you.
Donors and donation organizers spoke about how giving blood helps the community and ultimately saves lives.
After donating blood, you're thinking to yourself, I got to help somebody in need who needs blood. So it's very nice.
I wanted to help, extend my help to other people in need. Especially me, I work as a nurse, and sometimes I'm on oncology department, and a lot of people really needs blood and other blood products. So I will be willing to help other people save lives.
It's a life or death situation sometimes. Your pint of blood can literally save someone's life. Like, they need 1 pint of blood to live, and that could be you who donated.
Hesitation to donate can be understandable. After all, needles are sharp. But regardless, folks at this blood donation drive decided to give it a shot, knowing full well that every drop counts. Alan Basayahe, Eagle News, Los Angeles, California.
Thanks, Alan. Now, Thomas Likeness tells us about Ukrainian farmers using combat gear to protect themselves while out on the fields. The World Health Organization saying poorer countries suffer the most when it comes to COVID-related deaths. A drone swarm flying through a thick forest in China. Plus, a rocket firing competition returning to a province in Thailand. All this on this week's Correspondent at Large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. Farming in Ukraine has become a death-defying occupation. Supplies this year not only include fertilizer and seed, farmers also need flak jackets and deminers. Now, deminers are people who destroy the unexploded bombs, shells, and mines in the fields. So far, there have been about 20 incidents of farmers being injured by incendiary devices. No word on how many of those were fatal. As the sieging continues, farmers keep a sharp eye out for the hazards of war left behind by the Russians. Well, how deadly was the pandemic? And I'm not just talking about the deaths directly caused by the COVID-19 infection. The World Health Organization found that over a 2-year period in 2020 and 2021, somewhere between 13 million and 17 million people died. That's nearly triple the number of deaths attributed directly to the disease. That's because public health officials are now taking into account what is known as excess mortality. So, where do these extra deaths come from? Well, some people died because their medical treatment was delayed. Hospitals and doctors just too busy taking care of COVID-19 patients. Other societal problems caused by the impact of public health measures contributed to the higher death toll as well. This would be things like substance abuse and mental health issues. And the WHO says poorer countries suffered the most. Lower middle income and low income countries accounted for 60% of excess deaths. The organization says the number of deaths attributed directly to the infection is about 6.25 million. An experiment in China saw a swarm of drones behave like a flock of birds. Now, watch as these 10 drones lift off and make their way through this bamboo forest. They're flying autonomously, not relying on GPS or any other navigational aid. They have anti-collision software built in. But watch as they make their way between the branches and bushes, avoiding obstacles and each other. The palm-sized robots are equipped with depth cameras, altitude sensors, and an onboard computer. Applications are many. They could be sent into disaster areas to survey damage and identify where to send help. And although a single drone could be used, a swarm would be far more efficient. Swarms could also be used to lift and deliver heavy objects. But on the dark side, they could be weaponized by militaries. It's only a matter of time before we see them deployed. This sounds like a blast. In Thailand's Pathum Thani province, the annual rocket firing competition has returned after a 2-year absence. Homemade missiles fizzled, roared, and sputtered across a field. Several hundred people stood on the sidelines to cheer on the amateur rocket scientists. The rockets are about 1 meter long. They're made out of metal and wood, filled with homemade explosives, usually potassium-based. The rockets are fired horizontally, guided by a cable for the first part of the flight. At the end of the cable, they continue through the air, hopefully toward a target. Their landing spot is marked with a red flag, and judges keep records along the sidelines. The winner, takes home a top prize of about $440. I'll be back in 7 days, and in the meantime, I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, Correspondent at Large, Eagle News.
Thanks, Thomas. Now, TikTok wants its top influencers to earn from their posts. Bobby Soriano tells us more on Mind Your Business.
Current social media darling TikTok announced an ad revenue sharing program that will allow its most influential creators to profit from their posts. The app, which allows users to post short video clips of everyday activities or thoughts, are not filtered or curated like posts on Instagram or Snapchat. This has led TikTok to become the dominant social media platform as of late, which young people have flocked to due to its perceived level of authenticity. Under the new ad revenue sharing program dubbed TikTok Pulse, companies can place their ads next to user content in specific categories, including health, fashion, and many others, and creators will get a purported 50% cut of the revenue generated from their posts. In a public release, the company has stated that they are focusing on developing monetization solutions in available markets so that creators feel valued and rewarded on TikTok. For now, only accounts with at least 100,000 subscribers will be eligible for the first phase of the program, which is expected to begin rolling out in June. Ad revenue sharing is not a new business model in the social media space. Other platforms such as Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch have received a boost in user growth that offsets the revenue loss paid out to content creators. TikTok is now the latest in a line of social media giants that hopes to benefit from the business model as well. Last year brought in an estimated $4.6 billion in revenue for TikTok, more than double the previous year's revenue according to industry analysts. Bobby Soriano, Mind Your Business, Eagle News, New York, New York.
Thank you, Bobby. Now, onto news from the sports world. Our Los Angeles bureau talked to the talented golfers of the Ladies Professional Golf Association at this year's LPGA Palos Verdes Championship. Here's Alan again, this time with Eva, to tell us which golfer came up on top.
You may remember Hannah Green as the solo second-place finisher at the Dio Dental Implant LA Open. Well, she's back at the Palos Verdes Championship, opening the final day of the tournament in the lead with an 8-under par.
Fellow Aussie Lydia Ko kept pace at 7 under, but with 9 players from the US, Korea, and Scotland only 3 strokes behind, capturing the title for Green was no guarantee.
And after a brilliant push, it was Marina Alex who took over the leaderboard, finishing with a 10-under par to claim victory.
$225,000 in prize money goes to Alex, as well as the distinction of being the first LPGA player to win at this golf course.
When you were presented the championship trophy, we of course zoomed in on your face. We saw some face contortion and we were thinking any minute now, she's gonna break down in tears. So the question is, are you just naturally calm, collected?
I think I had a moment, if I'm being honest, when I went into the locker room and I had a moment to myself and I was just a bit overwhelmed. And I'm kind of glad that was just with me. When I won in Portland, I was extremely overwhelmed. You know, it was the first time, and not that this isn't any different than Portland. It really is. I just didn't think I would be back here. I didn't. So this is kind of a bit shocking, but great. Yeah, I had a minute to myself, and I'm sure when I call my parents and I talk to my friends, it's going to be extremely emotional.
What kind of celebrations are you looking forward to when you swing by home?
Yeah, next week is going to be crazy now that I'm going back there in a week and a half, and I'm going to like really close to where I grew up. So I have a lot of childhood friends that I'm going to see. So there's going to be some celebration definitely going on. And then I'm going back home to Palm Beach where I live now next week. And I have some friends, golf friends that are going to be in town. So I'm sure there's going to be some celebrating there. I'll make sure of it. I'm going to enjoy it.
Golfers shared what it meant to have fan support with them, especially while playing at a newly added course.
This golf course is such a challenge, and it's our first time here, and I think with practice rounds we kind of knew that this golf course was going to be hard to walk in general, so really had to stay patient out there and kind of pace ourselves when it came to walking and kind of breathing before hitting the next shot.
It was very hilly. It was a hard walk, got tired at the end for sure, but it was cool knowing that everybody has a fair chance at winning. So my game wasn't on top this week, but it was definitely a lot of fun.
It's so hilly out here. I'm really surprised that we got so many spectators, but it's great that they're supporting the LPGA, and hopefully it gets better and better.
That's awesome. I mean, you can hear the noises from the 18th green. I mean, it's great to have fans back. It definitely adds a little bit of nerves, I think, when we step over some putts, but yeah, it's amazing, and we love the roars out here.
Oh, it's so much fun. That's why we play for us professional golfers, is to have crowds and to have the fans, and just finally interacting with them in real time is just so much more fun, and that's really what I play for.
Players we spoke with called Palos Verdes a hilly golf course, which presented different challenges and called for adaptive play style.
But now that Palos Verdes has been added to the circuit, fans expect players to only get better the more they play here, thus making for even more thrilling tournaments to come. Eva and Alan, Eagle News, Palos Verdes, California.
Thanks, Alan and Eva. Now, the SpaceX crew has returned to Earth. Welcome back. Here's Philip Toledo on Learning Curve.
4 spacefaring humans splashed down to their home planet early Friday morning. The Dragon Endurance spacecraft, carrying 3 NASA and 1 European Space Agency astronaut from NASA's SpaceX Crew 3, returned to Earth in a parachute-assisted splashdown at 12:43 Eastern Time in the Gulf of Mexico, according to the NASA news release. The Crew 3 mission launched last November and spent 177 days in orbit, the 3rd longest commercial crew mission. The mission was primarily scientific, but the astronauts also performed maintenance on the space station. Some of their research included studying how fibers grow in microgravity and hydroponic and aeroponic techniques to be able to grow plants in space. They also took photos of the Earth to help track the impact of natural disasters and changes of the planet. The space station is a little less crowded now with the return of Crew 3. Crew 4 launched in late April and continues the scientific mission. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson spoke about the mission, saying, "NASA's partnership with SpaceX has again empowered us to deliver a crew safely to the space station and back, enabling groundbreaking science that will help our astronauts travel farther out into the cosmos than ever before. This mission is just one more example that we are truly in the golden era of commercial spaceflight." And to the 4 astronauts returning, he stated, "Kayla, Raha, Tom, and Matthias, thank you for your service and welcome home." Philip Toledo, Learning Curve, Eagle News.
Thanks, Philip. COVID-19 has changed parents' attitudes about how much time their children spend using gadgets. Eagle News correspondent Eli Austria examines how things are different as we emerge from the pandemic.
Lockdowns during the past 2 years limited the amount of traditional playtime children had with others. Recreation, like many other activities, went online. Over the last 2 years, the use of smartphones and video games by children under 5 has increased. According to a survey done by the Pew Research Center, when the pandemic began, just over 2/3 of kids under 5 began playing with a smartphone. That increased to 8 out of 10 children by 2021, and that has parents concerned. Pre-pandemic, only about 1/3 of parents thought their kids spent too much time looking at screens. That now stands at just over half. Not surprisingly, social media usage among kids has gone up as in-person socializing fell by the wayside. TikTok was the most commonly used app by children. Parents also say it's harder to pry their children's eyes away from gadgets. Fewer parents are taking away gadgets to punish their children, and nearly half of parents surveyed allow their children to use devices right before bedtime. That's a practice that researchers say can affect the quality of a person's sleep. One concern many parents have is how technology will hinder the development of their children's social skills. Despite concerns about the effects of too much screen time, 16% of parents say they did nothing to limit their child's screen time. Eli Austria, Eagle News, Los Angeles, California.
Thanks, Eli. Today, we will meet a group of trail enthusiasts in Maryland who attest to how walking and climbing together has made them better, stronger, happier persons inside and out. Jessica Bautista on Down to Earth.
It has been said many times that every journey begins in a single step. This holds true for a group of hikers in Maryland. One step taken together was all it took to start a journey of adventures, discoveries, and friendships. Hike docent Laurel Montez says the journey started with just a handful of nature enthusiasts going on a one-time weekend easy hike. Several months later, it has grown into so much more. The group now has over 24 hikers conquering multiple trails and miles of surprising distance.
We started at 4 the first time, and then it grew into over 20 members, and it's getting bigger. Supposed to be a 5-mile loop in Sugarloaf Mountain, but we got lost and we ended up hiking for over 10 miles. In those 10 miles that we've hiked, we've got lost, but we still had fun. I think nobody was complaining, and it was cool.
For the group, Saturdays have changed its meaning. It has stopped being that day when one gets to sleep in. They have now become hike days that start very early in the morning, and each hiker has to come prepared.
I stretch sometimes, if I remember. I actually bought hiking shoes recently. I bring water, shade sometimes, and usually I bring a hat, but today I forgot that.
And when it's cold, we usually bring gloves, heat warmers for your hands, and extra jackets. When it's hot, we usually bring sunscreen. Most importantly, we make sure we bring excitement and enjoyment, so we look forward to the hike.
I do some stretching in the house. I bring my power bar and power drink for the hike.
I try to have a good sleep before the night before, and it's so nice that you have your right gear, your right shoes especially, because that really helps a lot. Of course, my energy and being positive with everything, because it's nice to talk to someone during the hike. You get to bond with a lot of people.
Every time we hike, I always make sure to wear a hat because I want to protect my face. And of course, I always bring a big smile every time we go hiking.
Like any adventure, there are always challenges that need to be dealt with. With hiking, there are rocky paths, steep climbs, even slippery slopes. But nothing compares to that feeling every time you overcome a hurdle.
There have been some tricky trails and rocks that may make it hard for us to walk and a little bit challenging, but it's very fulfilling when we pass it and when we go, because we just get harder and harder trails as we keep going.
When we first started hiking, it was very cold, especially in the morning, so I think that was one big challenge, making sure to have enough layers on and that you could feel your fingers while you're hiking. One major challenge I face is waking up early on Saturday mornings for the hike, because I'm not really a morning person, and usually I like to sleep in on Saturday mornings. But I overcame this by sleeping earlier. Once I wake up, I look forward to the hike right away.
With hikers ranging from age 13 to 75, the group agrees that walking together in nature goes beyond adventure.
So after a stressful week of school and work, hiking with our friends always relieves the stress, and it is something that I look forward to every single week.
Because it makes me stronger, I feel happier and relaxed during the hike.
It really helps me mentally because of the fresh air, and then when you're talking to someone, you get to tell them, your challenges in life and your experience. You get to share with other people, and then you learn from each other.
These hikes don't just benefit me physically, but also benefits me mentally. It's good to go out once in a while and hike with your family and friends and enjoy their company.
I learned just to experience the nature. It helped me become more aware of the things around me and kind of just experience the sun on your skin. It's very encouraging if you're experiencing the sun, especially because it's getting warmer. We can just move our bodies and move around and get a lot of exercise that we need. I love hiking in a group. I think that hiking alone, yes, you can collect your thoughts and be one with nature, but I think hiking in a group is more encouraging and it's easier because you can focus on others rather than yourself and just be around that and also get physical exercise.
Every time the group embarks on a new trail, Aside from putting to work their feet, boots, and hiking sticks, there is always something that catches them off guard. And more often than not, that something has them laughing at each other, with each other.
There was one time I remember when we went hiking, we were planning to hike for, I believe it was 3 to 5 miles. It turned out to be a 10-mile hike. That was something I remember because I was so tired during that hike and we weren't sure where the end of the trail was.
We had a couple people in our group fall, which was funny. No one was injured. We had a good time, we had a good laugh. All of them are unique and fun in its own way, and I enjoy all of it.
One time when we were hiking, we saw a river and there were rocks, so we decided to climb on it to take pictures. And there was one time where I stepped on one rock, however it was kind of slippery. So the thing was, my foot slipped on the rock and my whole foot went into the water, and it was very cold. One of my friends tried to catch me and she also fell, so both of us got wet, and the entire hike we just couldn't stop laughing.
After every hike, before calling it a day, the group brings to the picnic table a variety of eats to devour. They say it's simply ending the experience on the best note. But food is just one of the many awesome reasons why getting mud on their shoes is something they look forward to every week.
The people that I hike with, I like them. They're all positive. They're always energetic, and they're fun to be with. That's like the best thing now that I have. That I want to do every Saturday. I look forward for that.
What drives me to go hiking every single Saturday morning, early in the morning, is the company. Knowing that we'll be hiking with our friends motivates me to go to the hike every single weekend. There's some who are young, like maybe 13, 14, and then older from their parents to grandparents. And during this hike, we usually tell stories, and it's very fun and relaxing to hear everyone's stories. I would like others to try hiking because even if you're not an outdoorsy person like I am, it's very fun, it's good for you, and it's good to go outside and explore nature once in a while.
Well, I have a couple friends who are in the hiking club, so they kind of encourage me, and because I don't really get out much except for school, it was really enticing to go and, you know, experience the outdoors. Spending time with people that you don't usually get to see on a weekly basis, so putting in that time to get physical exercise and see the people that you like is very enjoyable.
I plan to do it for the whole year, but I think we will go beyond those.
As tons of other hiking trails await their wandering feet, this group of adventure seekers has given the outdoors a special place in their nature-loving hearts. Jessica Bautista, Down to Earth, Eagle News.
Thanks, Jessica. While some love hiking through the forest, others might prefer to lay out on relaxing beaches. If you prefer the latter, then this next story is definitely for you. Here's Jane Kathleen Gregorio as she takes us to Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas.
With warmer weather in full swing, now's the time to go traveling. Today, we explore a private luxury beach resort accessible only by cruise ship. Welcome to Half Moon Cay in the Bahamas. Also known as Little San Salvador Island, this uninhabited private port of call is owned and operated by Carnival and Holland America cruise ships, where passengers can disembark, take a water taxi to the island, relax on white sand beaches, and enjoy swimming in the crystal clear blue waters. Located between Eleuthera and Cat Islands in the Bahamas, Half Moon Cay is comprised of 50 acres of luxury beach resort and 2,400 acres of natural wildlife habitat. Guests can purchase excursions ranging from eco bike tours, tram ride tours, scuba diving, snorkeling, kayaking, and even horseback riding on the water, not to mention stingray encounters. A buffet lunch is provided in the dining pavilion. The favorite activity for most, however, is lounging on the beach.
Well, about this place is well, awesome.
I'm really impressed because the beach is clean, almost pink colored.
The place is really nice. I like to soak in the water for at least probably 1 hour. The water is so clear, so clear. And I enjoy the water, and look like everybody's having a good time there in the water. I'll go back to the water again before I go back to the ship.
This is my first time in Half Moon Cay. I love to look at the water. It's so beautiful, it almost looks artificial. The water is so sparkling blue and clear. The weather here is beautiful. It's hot, but there's a cool breeze, a Caribbean breeze, and we've been made very welcome. Everybody here has been so wonderful to us. They really have rolled out the red carpet for their guests. And I'm very much enjoying Half Moon Cay and plan to come again very soon.
Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News, Half Moon Cay, Bahamas.
Thanks, Kathleen. One of several ways to help us feel good is, well, to look good. Today, Bernadette is joined by Arnie all the way from Canada to share some tips for those who still want to doll up even if they're in a rush. Here's this week's Glow Up.
Both inside and out. Today, let's talk about who's got time. Seems like we don't have enough of it in a day. So let's hear from Arnie Aquino on how we can apply our makeup with one palette, one brush, welcome back to Glow Up. Take it away, journey of becoming the most beautiful version of ourselves,
I will
both
be showing
inside
you
and
how
out.
I do my
Today,
makeup using
let's
one
talk
makeup
about
palette
who's got
and
time.
one brush.
Seems like we don't have enough of it in a day.
I'm actually going to
So
show
let's
you
hear
how
from
I do
Arnie
my
Aquino
makeup
on how we can
within
apply our
5
makeup
minutes
with
or
one
less,
palette,
because
one
as
brush,
busy
in 5
women
minutes
that
or
we
less.
are,
Take it away,
sometimes we
Arnie.
can't spend so much time
I will
doing
be
our
showing
makeup.
you
So
how I
let's
do
just
my
get to
makeup
it.
using
This
one
is called the
3D
palette
foundation
and I'm
one
going to start
brush.
with
Let's
my
get
contour, and
started.
I'm actually going to show you how I do my makeup within 5 minutes or less, because
I'm
as
gonna put that
busy
right
women
where I
that
need
we are,
the contour.
sometimes
So,
we can't
I'm
spend
gonna feel
so
for
much time
my
doing our makeup. So
cheekbones and just
let's just get
underneath
to
that,
it.
that's
This
where I'm
is
gonna
called
put my
3D
foundation.
foundation. I'm gonna start
And
with my
I'm gonna
contour,
put
and
that
I'm actually just gonna use my finger. I want
in
to be
my
a shadow,
contour
and
shade
where
over
there's
there. I'm
naturally
gonna
a
put that
shadow
right
on the
where I need
the good thing
the
about this
contour.
makeup
So,
is that
I'm
the
gonna feel
contour
for my
and the highlight shades
cheekbones
already
and just
have
underneath
coverage
that,
in them,
that's where
so
I'm
you
gonna
don't
put
need
my
to put
contour
foundation
shade.
first
And
before you
I'm
put
gonna
your
put that
contour
also
and
everywhere
your
where
highlight. Now I have my main highlight
there to
shade
be
be
a
a
shadow.
shadow, and
Basically,
where
this
there's
is your
naturally a shadow
main
on the
foundation
shade.
The good thing about this makeup is
And
that I'm just gonna
the contour
put that where I need
and the
coverage.
highlight shades already have coverage in them, so you
now
don't
we've
need
got
to
our
put
main highlight
foundation
shade
first
on our face
before
we're
you
gonna
put your
go in
contour
with
and your highlight.
our
Now I
brightening
have
highlight.
my main highlight shade right here.
Basically, this is your main foundation
I just put that highlight
shade.
color on,
And I'm just
down the
gonna
center of my nose,
put that where I need
a little bit on my
coverage.
forehead, outside, and inside.
So now we've got
my
our main
eyes.
highlight
Just
shade
a little bit up
on
here.
our face. We're gonna
Above
go
my
in
lid.
with
Now
our
that I've
brightening
put
highlight.
all of my 3D foundation, so these three consist of your 3D foundation.
I just put that
these
highlight
three shades
color on
have coverage in them
the center
already.
of my nose.
And now that I've
Little
done
bit
that,
on my
I'm gonna
forehead,
actually take this
outside,
red color
and inside
and
my
this
eyes.
is maybe just a little bit
lip
up
and
here.
cheek.
Above
Put that on my
lip.
cheek just a little bit.
Now that I've
It's
put
very
all of
pigmented,
my
and I'm
3D
gonna put that on
foundation,
my
so
lip.
these three consist of
Now
your
we're
3D
done,
foundation.
ready to go
And-
outside.
No, I'm
These
just
three
kidding.
shades
Now I'm gonna
have
use my
coverage
brush
in them
to
already.
blend everything out. And now that
I'm
I've
gonna start
done
with
that,
the
I'm gonna
lighter
actually
shades.
take this red color, and this is lip and cheek. I'm gonna put that on my cheek.
Just a
I'm gonna
little
use
bit.
the
It's
smaller
very
end of this
pigmented,
brush,
and I'm gonna put
for,
that on my
like,
lip.
the inner
So,
corner of my eye.
now we're done, ready to go outside.
No, I'm just kidding. Now I'm gonna use my brush
Now
to
I'm
blend
gonna
everything out.
So I'm gonna start with the lighter
contour
shade
last, and also my blush. I'm gonna use the smaller end of this brush for like the inner
we're
corner of
gonna
my eye.
Blend our cheeks, blend out that blush.
Now I'm gonna
Pinchy
blend
touches.
the contour last.
My lips are
and also my blush.
rosy, and I'm all done. So, if you have any comments or questions about this method of applying your makeup, then just leave them in the comments below.
Bye guys. Finishing touches.
Thank you, Arnie, for your
My
amazing
lips
tips.
are
I'm gonna have to give that a try.
rosy.
Thank you
And
all so much for joining
I'm all
us today.
done. So, if you have any comments or questions about this method of applying your makeup, then just leave them in the comments below. Bye guys.
Thank you, Arnie, for your amazing tips. I'm gonna have to give that a try. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I am Bernadette Regini, Glow Up Eagle News.
Thank you, Bernadette and Arnie. And thank you all for joining us again. If there are stories or topics you want us to share with you, just comment below. View, like, share our other shows. City Limits with Alan Basayahe. Connected with Dr. David. Take a Seat and Join Us with Anna Cui. Plate Date with Mike Hudson and friends. Plus, Journey, Stories of Filipinos in Canada with Kathleen Cruz. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I am EJ Gonzalez. Happy weekend, everyone.